guys, welcome to Coach Dave Academy. This is Suellio Almeida. We're going to see my lap with the Porsche Cup at Barcelona. We're going to see the entire lap and then we're going to talk about corner by corner. All right, so going into the first corner, the first thing that we want to know is that we can actually use a little bit more of the track. You don't have to have the left tires on the curb. You can actually have the left tires on the green here. And then also, it's a little bit difficult to find a nice braking zone. So what I'm using is somewhere in between the 200 and the 100. I found myself using this little gap here. Actually, not a gap. Just this extra object here on the fence as a braking zone. So it's a little bit tricky to see, but you can get used to it. So you see the 200, and then boom, here, that's where I start braking. You can see it here. This little object is what I'm using as a braking reference. And then I'm also using this white line here as a turning point reference. I figured out I was kind of missing a little bit the turning, so I decided to give myself a turning point for this corner specifically. And ideally, you want to have this under the car, so you can actually have the right tires on the right of this yellow curb. In this lap, I actually hit it a little bit, so the car did jump a little bit, but generally, when you go even a little bit more to the right, it actually goes under the car and you don't even feel it. So this is the objective. You do not get an off track if you do it. So just make sure you have a nice turning point here, because it's very easy to end up going a little bit wide as you turn in. As you can see, I'm turning in quite early, but still kind of understeered a little bit and ended up having to go over that. I did not lose a lot of time on this one, so it was all good. And then change direction using a good bit amount of the car on top of this second layer of the curb. And then changing direction here, trying to stay a little bit, for a little bit longer than you think on the inside here on the curb, and then getting back on power and then slightly allowing the car to go wide. You don't want to pull it too much because this car is very oversteery on power now. So if you do accelerate and you keep trying to stick to the inside for too long, you're actually going to oversteer. And with the correction, you're actually going to go wider than you think. So let the car go wide very progressively with very light hands, and it's going to be a very nice corner. For this one here, I'm braking at the change of color from red to yellow and black. From white and red to yellow and black. That's my braking reference there. So boom, start braking there, and then trying to stick to the inside. Getting back on power and kind of like trying to stick a little bit more to the inside, and then same thing, allowing the car to go all the way to the outside to not get any unnecessary oversteer. Then bringing the car back and using, it's funny that it's not showing up here because I'm in replay, but I do use a skid mark as a reference because you can see it's very difficult. You don't have any clear reference as a braking reference here. So I do use a skid mark that is right here. You can look down and look for the skid marks. There are some diagonal ones. There are like some locking marks on the track. So you can use them as a braking reference if you don't find anything else. And then going for a quite late apex here, and then finally getting back on power and letting the car go all the way to the outside. This one does not give you an off track, so as you can see, I'm using pretty much almost all the way to the dirt. And then you will go, and you don't want to apex here. It's a very easy trap to actually try to stick to the left here, but no, the next corner is going to be the important one, so I want to have the car to the left, sorry, to the right already. So by the time you start braking, your car is already here. So it's very important to know that. Do not go to the left here. Stay to the right, because you're going to need that as a good positioning for the next corner. Then you're going to brake, use all the curb, and you can actually, you have two choices. You can actually use the inside here, but the car gets a little bit unstable on the way back. And I found myself being a little bit more consistent and finding pretty much the same lap times by not using the curb and sticking to the pavement. But it's up to you. It's just two options. And then get back on power and allow the car to go pretty much all the way here. There is an off track somewhere, so you have to actually try and see what is the off track, and it's also totally fine to hit this yellow. The car really doesn't really feel it anyways, so it's totally fine to hit that yellow. Nothing's gonna happen. For this one, my turning point is the very end of the curb, and a little trail braking and trying to climb a little bit over the green after the yellow curb here. So this is my reference. I climb a little bit over the green after the yellow, then get back on power. And here's something funny. If this was the GP version, this would not be an off track. But because this is the historic version, you actually get an off track here. So I'm showing you that this was an off track. On this version, you actually have to have the two left tires on the white and green. So the second layer is the limit for this one. Then for the next corner, I'm braking somewhere before the 100 board, and then allowing the car to stay to the inside as much as you can, because the next corner goes to the right and you really want to set up that double apex. So as you can see, as soon as I get back on power, I try to bring it as much as possible to the left. It still goes more or less to the middle of the track at this point, but then I keep bringing it more and more and more and more and more. I didn't bring it all the way to the cones, so this is probably, I would say, 3/4 to the left, and then I'm already changing direction and braking for the double apex. So the first apex is here, then the car is going to go wide a little bit, and then back on power, second apex, and then you let the car go all the way to the outside. This was not enough track. This is the limit here. And then for the next corner, you can actually use a lot of this inside, as you can see, aiming to have the right tires on the blue. As you can see, it even looks like I'm using a lot more of the blue, but when you go to the chase, I'm not really using it that much. So you can generally go a lot more to the right than you think here. My advice is for you to try more and more until you get some sort of penalty, maybe an off track or a slowdown or something. So in practice, of course, try to use as much as you can here to see how much time you can gain. And then on the outside, you go a little bit wide, and then you come back just to make sure that you are aligned with this yellow curb here. You definitely do not want to use it. And then slightly trail braking for the next one, getting back on power and allowing the car to go all the way almost to the dirt there, because that's the limit on the off track. And there you go. This lap time was a 1:45.0. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and I will see you next week.